know that my parents were Catholic. They actually met at a Catholic college, Stonehill College. And I actually have a second cousin who's a priest. And I remember that when I went to my great aunt and I informed her that I was being ordained, she said to me, "That is okay, dear. You were baptized Catholic. You will always be Catholic." I loved her. One of the things that I miss from my days of being Catholic is the way that they look upon Mary. As a child, I used to have in my room this wonderful blue statue of Mary with the drapes on and her hands, and she looked so meek and so mild and so loving and so kind. And I remember looking at that when I was scared, when I was a little kid. Thunderstorms absolutely terrified me. And sometimes I would just hang on to Mary and wait for the storm to pass. We Protestants, we pull Mary out for this story once a year, and then we sort of tuck her away. I wish we didn't do that. You see, to me, Mary has an important lesson to teach all of us. Here she was, not really a woman, still part child, 13, 14, 15 years old, and an angel comes to her, and God chooses her to carry the child, this Emmanuel, the babe of Bethlehem, our Savior, into the world. Now, I don't know about you, but I can remember when I was back in junior high, headed for high school, if an angel came to me, I'm not so sure I would be jumping for joy and saying yes. I think I would be running as fast as I could and hiding. But here is Mary, this woman, this child, who says yes. And we know the story. We know that during that time, to be a young girl, a young woman, a young unmarried woman, to be pregnant, meant that you would be put outside of society. We focus that Joseph was going to let Mary go, but then he was brave enough to take her as a wife. But I think that today is a day for us to join Mary and sing God's praises, and to thank God for all the Marys that are out there. You know, one of the things about Mary that strikes me is the fact that she doesn't want all the glory. She knows that people will be singing and praising her because of what she's done, because it says, for all generations, they will know that I am blessed. But she doesn't go out and say, hey world, look at me. She's quiet. She's meek. And yet she's fierce and courageous, isn't she? This young girl woman would travel all the way to Bethlehem, 9 months pregnant. For those of you who have had children, you know what the 9th month is like. I cannot imagine getting on a donkey and traveling all that way, away from my family, away from the midwives, away from those women who would hold my hand for the first time as she gave birth. This woman child was made of steel, of faith, of strength, of courage. I don't know if she knew. Mary, did you know the full extent of what she was doing? But I do believe that she knew that God had talked to her and called her, and that she was being an instrument for God and for humankind. the greatest gift that humankind would get, Mary helped deliver. Mary, did you know that this child that you would give birth to would grow up and would become our Savior? I don't know if she knew that, but I don't know if that really matters. I think what really matters is that Mary said yes. Mary didn't say maybe. She didn't say, check in with me a couple years from now. She said yes. I'm sure she was trembling. I'm sure she was filled with apprehension and didn't know where her life would go. But she placed her life fully in God's hands. Mary, did you know where your life would go? She saw great joy as the angels sang, and as the wise men came, and as she looked down at this precious child, she felt the joy of giving birth. She would go on, and she would raise other children, but she would also stand at the cross and look up and see her baby child die, be sacrificed for our salvation. This woman child has a lot to give us today. She was a fierce woman of faith. She was courageous. She was loving. She was kind. She was faithful. Those are things today that we as Christians who are sitting here can accept as gifts for our own life. Will you be asked to give birth to the Son of God? Maybe not. But will you be asked to give birth to a ministry? Will you be asked to share your faith? Will you be asked to be humble and courageous at the same time? Will you be asked to share the love of God with humanity? Will you be asked to believe, to share your faith, to let your actions reflect your heart? Will you be asked to be a Mary? Yes. Yes, you are asked to be like Mary. The angel may not come to you, but you are still being asked. Asked to be courageous. Asked to open up your heart and to follow God and where God will lead you. Mary, did you know? I don't think she did. I don't think we do either. Where will our lives go? What will happen today or tomorrow or the next day? We do not know. But I can tell you that if we open our hearts and if we allow Mary to speak to us, then we too can sing the glory of God. We too can be used as instruments. We too can be filled with the mystery and the awe that is our Creator. Mary sang for joy that God wanted to use her as an instrument to humankind. On this last Sunday in Advent, this time of waiting, she invites you to join her in singing how magnificent and wonderful our God is. Will you say yes? Will you give birth to love, hope, peace, and joy in this world this Christmas? God is calling. Will you be courageous like Mary? I hope so. Merry Christmas.